All right. Good morning, everybody. Hey, thrilled to be with you. Just doing a little adjustment here so I can see all your shining, smiling faces. And I hope you're having a great morning. And it is going to be a great morning. So thank you for being with me. So last week I was on a little vacation. Jennifer and I had the opportunity to go back east, and we went back east and we visited a place called Pinehurst. If you're a golfer, it's really the cradle of golf for America. And back in 1895, in the middle of nowhere, a gentleman by the last name of Tufts created this little iconic little dream of golf. And he actually made his fortune with soda fountains. And so he took all of that money that he had earned, and that he then said, let's go buy land. And I think he bought, if I recall, like 75,000 acres of land. And there's, right now they have, I believe, 9 different courses. And of course, all the communities, all the real estate, all the homes, all these iconic, early 1900 homes. I mean, just a really special and quaint place. So as we were playing golf, I watched, I just want to tell a quick story. I was watching Jennifer, and I watched her to where, these courses are really tough, many of them. And I watched her to where she kind of got a little discouraged, a little disinterested. We were playing a lot of golf. I mean, there's a few days where we played 36 holes. And just to give you perspective, almost every time we walked, that would be walking about 10 miles every time we played a round of golf. And there was a few days where we actually walked nearly 20 miles to play. So I watched her get a little disinterested, and I watched her get a little tired, and I watched her not being very, very focused. And we've had this little bet going on about this purse that she wants. And so I said, hey, I'll make you a deal. I'll give you 2 strokes per hole. And on par 5s, I'll even give you 3 strokes if you beat me. And if you beat me, you know what? Let's get you this purse. Now, she's been looking at this purse. I'm just telling you, she's looking at this Gucci purse. So when you see this Gucci purse, you can know that she won it fair and square, because this is the fun part about this story. Is for hours of playing golf, she remained insanely focused. In fact, we ran out of daylight because we were playing so much golf that the game had to continue on the first 4 holes of the next day. And man, she picked up right where she left off, which was whooping me. And she was so focused and so disciplined and so methodical. I want you to think about that for a moment, about your own business. See, what I found right then and there is I said, wow, here is a story for a summit. Here is a story for a morning meeting. And the thing that caught my attention was the magnitude of change that occurred in the way in which she played golf when she had a reason, hear me say that clearly, a reason to succeed. So my question then for you is, what are the reasons reasons, doesn't matter, that really drive you and push you to the next level? What are the reasons why you do what you do? Are there reasons why you don't fully commit? Are there reasons why you kind of tiptoe around the game of real estate? Are there reasons why you push yourself and drive yourself to excel? Are there reasons that really make sure that you pick up the phone and make a call or many calls in a day? Do you have those difficult conversations? Are there reasons that drive you and push you? See, on a golf course in Pinehurst, North Carolina, Jennifer found reasons. And all of a sudden, when she had reasons, what was so fascinating to me is watching the massive elevation in the way in which she played the game of golf. You may say, well, what does that matter about golf? Golf doesn't matter. What matters is the fact that someone, meaning in this story, Jennifer, found reasons to succeed. And guys, on the second to last hole of our little tournament, one with another, she beat me fair and square, like beat me. And what I find so fascinating, that if I was to do the same thing with just saying, hey, let's just play some golf and see who wins, No way. No way would she be so focused. No way would she try so hard. No way would she make such an effort to be victorious. And the reason is because she had reasons. Every single one of us, every single day, are going to drive our lives based on some reason. Some of it is that we find a religion, we find God, we find Jesus, we find something that moves us. Some of us are driven politically, and we find causes and we find reasons within the political process of democracy, and whether it be socialism, democracy, whether it be, all the different things we've seen, but people find reasons and they're engaged and they step up. All of a sudden you find reasons as a parent, a mother, a father, an aunt, an uncle, and you find reasons to step forward and to be better at what you do. When it becomes a parenting skill or a friendship skill or an aunt and uncle and stepping in, all of those because you have reasons. And the same thing applies to the way in which you sell real estate. See, here's the thing that's interesting about real estate. It's a pretty simple game. Talk to people, engage them to work with you as a buyer or seller, find them the home, sell the home, and do it again. Repeat. Now, the reason I say that, and I'm not trying to be mocking, but the reality is that those who have deep reasons, maybe it's retirement, maybe they've been burned in the past. Yesterday, I sat down with an agent. He said we had a situation with one of our kids and we lost everything in a legal battle. I said, so what's moving you? He's like, I must get my retirement back. And you could feel the energy. You could feel the passion. You could feel the reasons that we're going to move this individual into action. So look, whether it's a simple golf game and buying a purse that I personally think that's ridiculous. Why would anyone want this purse? But it doesn't matter what I think. What matters is, what do you think? What do you think are your reasons? See, some of you are driven to be in a certain award category. Some of you are driven, like you get a reason, like our awards trips to like Hawaii, or the gift certificates, of course, this year, or this next week that are actually going out. But you find reasons, or you find reasons to provide for your family, or we get so desperate because there's not enough money, and my gosh, we won't be able to pay for our home, our living, our gas, our car. And so all of a sudden, boom, you engage because you find a reason. And that reason at times is often desperation. It's reasons that, oh my gosh, I could lose everything if I don't get my act together. I better get it together. So boom, you have reasons. You start prospecting. You start role playing. You start doing things that build business and make business happen. So look, every one of us has to take on within ourselves a strong approach to the standpoint that we have got to find the reasons that move us, the juice, the thread in our lives, the reasons as to why we do what we do. Why would we make phone calls? Why would we stay out late? Why would we get up early? Why would we push ourselves to the next level? What are the reasons as to why you do what you do? Because look, again, I go back to the game of real estate is not that complicated. So if it's not that complicated, then what's stopping you from making 100 grand, 200 grand, 300 grand, 5, 4, 6, 8, 10, $1 million plus? What's stopping you? What I can tell you is this: it is always going to be the reasons. When you hit a certain benchmark and all of a sudden you've achieved maybe more than you ever thought you could, boom, you find your reasons and you kind of stop trying and you start coasting. And the reality is that when you're coasting, the only way to go downhill, only way to go and coast is to go downhill. Or you sit there and kind of flatline, right? Like I always have in my mind the heart monitor going beep, which means you're dead. If you're coasting, if you're flatlined, you're dead in this business. So how do you find the motive? How do you find the motive for action? How do you find the motivation? How do you find the reasons? Well, it starts off with just simply asking the question. grab a journal and just write down what's important to me about my success. What's important to me about succeeding? What's important to me about winning the game of real estate? Maybe it's achieving centurion, grand centurion, double centurions. Maybe it's an award. Maybe it's the money in the bank. Maybe it's doing something for someone. Maybe it's traveling somewhere. Maybe it's not always being under such duress. Maybe it's just simply this. I can remember this, not wanting to have to tell my children no. Now, look, there's moments when I should tell them no, but there are moments as a parent, and you know what I'm talking about, when you just want to be able to say, yes, let's go do that. Let's get you that lesson. Let's get you that outfit. Let's go to the mall. Let's go buy this. Let's go do this. Let's go experience that. And I found myself, for me personally, part of my reasons were I hated saying no because I so deeply wanted to say yes to certain opportunities, memories, adventures. And so it was a driving passion of mine to make sure that memories and adventure with the people I love became a deep-rooted reason. Now, those are my reasons, one of them. But look, you each individually have reasons that move you, that drive you into action. Sometimes it takes getting sick. All of a sudden, we're like, holy cow, I better get my health in order. Sometimes it's we lose someone near and dear to us. And then we begin to realize the value of just simply saying, I love you, or forgiving someone of a mistake, or clearing the air in a difficult moment, because you find a reason. You find people where they'll resurrect a friendship, a relationship, maybe moments before their passing or a death. Why? Because there's a reason. Guys, it's not this complicated. Oftentimes we'll bang our head against the wall and we will sit back and ask ourselves, why can't I figure out what's going on with my health? I can tell you it's simple. Find a reason that drives you, moves you into action. It's not an accident that I say to myself, I will live to age 100 plus, and everything above that is a bonus. I want to see my grandchildren. I want to see every continent. I want to experience everything I can. And part of that is what drives me to have good health. And am I perfect in it? Heavens no. But it drives me and it gives me reasons to improve, to look to improve, to drive and to push and to make my life better because I have reasons. It's the same thing for business. When things were at their worst 10, 12, 13 years ago, when the market was crashing in 07 and 08 and 9 and such difficult moments, so much hardship going on everywhere for so many people that I loved. And as I saw the depth and the need of leadership, it gave me reasons to say, you know what? Let's create a real estate company. As I sat around a little wooden table in a conference room, and I had Gretchen there, Rob Oakey there, John Syatt there, and I sat down and I said, hey, what do you think about building a real estate company? And I still will never forget the words that John Syatt said. He said, if anybody else would have said that, I would have told them they were crazy. Let's do it. Guys, those are defining moments when you find reasons to act. And against all odds and against all the naysayers, against all the people who said it couldn't be done, Everest stands as a testament to helping people to build a better life. Not just real estate, a better life. So I just want to make sure that you recognize internally that there's nothing wrong with you. There's no reason that you can't succeed. There's not something wrong with your health in 99% of the times. It's just simply you haven't found a reason for your health, a reason for your business, and a reason that you really want to develop the depth of relationships that matter to you. And when you find a reason or reasons that drive you, push you, ignite you, juice you, energize you, then you know what was crazy? Very little accountability will be needed by the outside because you will be so internally driven because the reasons that follow you, the reasons you want to be a great mother or a great father, the reasons that you want to have the best health of your life, the reasons that you want to improve your business, earn the money, have the success. Maybe it's the awards, maybe it's the economics, maybe it's the difference that you make, but you find a reason. And it's the reason why I often talk about, go out and make a difference. The greatest gathering of real estate professionals that have reasons that drive them, right? Reasons that move people into action, that makes them recognize the motives, the motivation, the drive that comes because they know. What makes us unique as a group is that we know. And what I mean by we know the reasons why. It's the reasons you see people like a Brian Burnett, who goes and makes 2.1 million bucks. People go down and visit him. They watch him prospect. They watch him do his thing. They shrug their shoulders and go, well, that's not a big deal. You're right. It's not a big deal. To my point, real estate is not that complicated. But what makes it complicated is when you don't have a reason to drive and to push and to ignite and to energize your actions and your life, right? You look at someone, when I met Tina Hare, who was making well less than $1 million a year. Today or last year, she made 3.1 million. What drives someone to do what she does? What pushes someone to go to that next level? I've watched people like a Judy Lewicki. When I first met her, she was making a couple $100,000. Last year, she made just shy of $1 million. What pushes someone who's been in the business, by the way, for many years? What pushes someone? What drives someone? What ignites someone to go to that next level? When you look around, I can give you example after example after example after example. I can look at my closest friends in this business, and I can look at people who I hardly know. But what I know we all have in common is that those who succeed at mega levels have deep, abiding reasons as to why they do what they do. And that is a critical component to every great success. Every single one. Every single one. Is it just by accident that all of a sudden someone goes out and gets divorced, and what do? They somehow lose all that marriage fat. And all of a sudden you see them a month or two later, and they're in the best shape of their lives. Shocker. Why? You can make fun, you can make light, you can make a joke of all of it. But why? Because they have reasons. They have reasons to get in better shape. Maybe it's to prove to their former spouse, see what you're missing now. Or maybe it's, hey, I'm going out on the market and I got to look my best. But either way, no matter the reason, they find a reason and they ignite themselves and they juice themselves, and they feel all this energy and enthusiasm to drive their life towards an outcome. So for you, I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you to really think about the reasons of why you do this business. And what is it that's moving you? For any area of your life that you are not having profound, wow, success. People are like looking at you going, wow, how did you do it? If you don't have that happening, I can guarantee you are disconnected to the reasons as to what drives your life. And look, we're human. All of us are, unless you're an alien and we don't know it, but you're a human being. And you may say to yourself, why am I not more committed to my health? Well, why am I not more committed to my business? Why can't I go do what Ryan Burnett's doing? You can do what Ryan's doing, but you got to have reasons. Reasons that when the difficult moments come, when the discouraging moments occur, when you're down and out, or when you're just simply not feeling like doing your job or eating right or having the right health or being the parent or the spouse that you need to be or partner, you step back and you remember your reasons. And you become the driving force of all activity. Do not be like the 95% of the world's population that just sit back and coast in life. There's moments where maybe you can sit back, smell the roses, experience and see the beauty of the work that you've done and the things that have occurred in your life. And I have no problem with that. But if that becomes your model for life, to sit back and to coast and to wait for things to happen, I'm going to truly challenge you deeply within yourself that you have to find a deeper reason. I believe two of the greatest moments of life, and I've said this for years, is the day that you were born. But figuring out the reasons why you were born is a whole different level of motivation, reasons, and things that will drive you to create the life that you ultimately not only deserve, desire, and want. So you know this. I can't sit there and force you to write in your journal, but I can invite you to do so. I can encourage you to do so. I can challenge you to do so. I can yell at you, scream at you. I can gently remind you. But at the end of the day, just remember, there is nothing in this business in this business of real estate, there is nothing in this business that you cannot do. There is nothing that you cannot learn. So remember that if you excuse yourself from not writing, not thinking, not trying to find a reason that would drive you, is ultimately your responsibility. I would encourage you, I invite you, I challenge you, I want you to find it, because I know that once you find it, there is nothing that will stop you. And you will have all the success, all the money, all the accolades, and all the reasons that drive you will be prevalent and relevant. And you will be there, and you will have arrived. And people will look at you and say, how'd they do it? How did they do what they've done? How has it happened? And you know, and you will know deep within your heart the reasons why you succeeded. For some of you, it's been many different reasons over these years. For some of you, it's maybe to escape a relationship. For some of you, it's been an award. For some of you, it's just to survive. For some of you, you were in such a survival mode that you never want to be there again, and you drive well past that. Some of you, it's you just simply want to make a difference. And you want people to experience what it means to own their first home and the joy that comes into your life by helping so many people. I don't know all the reasons, but I'm just trying to spur your mind, to jog your memory, to enlighten and become mindful and conscious as to what it is that's driving you on a daily basis. We're talking about sacred conversations with yourself. We're talking about honest conversations with yourself. We're talking about getting to a depth of what you really desire. And you know what? There may be difficult moments. There may be difficult decisions. There may be moments where you may second guess yourself for a second. But you know what? When you get clear on where you're going, the answers will come. The pathway will be shown, and things will enlighten. People will show up. You have great managers, you have great leaders, you have great coaches, you have great people around you who want you to succeed. And they're there to ensure that that happens. Ultimately, your job is to find the reasons why you do what you do. And when you find a deep reason, everything will come together. In closing, guys, I just want to point out one principle. And that is that you can have all the reasons in the world. But as you move to this one principle, you need to create a level of discipline. And in the levels of those discipline, you will find the freedom that the reasons will give you. So the question then is, what activities do I need to do to ensure that the reasons of why I want to do what I do succeed? And my answer to you is this. I can remember again years ago, sitting at a stoplight, the first month that I had ever in my life made nearly $100,000. I ended up making $95,000. And I remember sitting at that stoplight, and I can still remember Jennifer reaching over, grabbing my hand and saying these words. Can I ask you a question? Sure. Promise you won't be mad? No, I won't. And I can remember her asking me, are you doing this business legally? And the reason she asked me this, and we usually have a good laugh when I'm animating this story a little bit more with everybody, but the sincerity of this question is interesting because she had never seen me have that type of success. As I've reflected back now nearly 20 years when she asked that question, I look back and I asked myself, what was it that changed? And what changed wasn't that I didn't have the mindset. I had a belief that I could accomplish almost anything. I had the skill sets, which was even crazy. I'd do these big business plans and the skill sets would show. But the one missing ingredient was the discipline. So you could have all the reasons in the world, but if you don't back it up with it, if it doesn't become the light and the juice and the absolute energy that energizes you into action, then you've got to look for bigger reasons, because it's those reasons. And so when I figured out years ago, like this little mechanism, if you would say, to my life of find my reasons, align it with the activities and the disciplines that are necessary, then everything I desire out of this business comes true. Everything in this business comes true. So don't underestimate the magnitude of the reasons. Second, do not underestimate the magnitude of the disciplines. And if I was to elaborate on just 3 core disciplines, boy, number 1, you got to practice. There are so many agents in this organization today. And yet when the practice of Rick Bentley and Ruby Batia, and when they have their role plays, I'm watching small groups assemble, which fascinates me, because what it tells me is that the reasons aren't big enough, meaning you haven't figured out still what to say, how to say it, when to say it. And yet every single day, the resource is sitting there for you at 7 a.m. every single morning. Every morning it's available to you. Be resourceful, practice, rehearse, internalize, and master your craft. Second, prospect daily. See people daily. Talk to people daily. That's the key to this business. But if you don't have reasons that drive you into those disciplines, you won't do it. And the third, pretty simple, and that is focus on taking listings. You may say, well, George, but I only work with buyers. I don't care. Spend a minimum 1 hour a day finding, getting, and taking a listing. You and I both know, and I love a statement that one of our great coaches in ESS said, and that is Kathleen Bruno. She said, look, you don't know for sure if you have a buyer, whether you're going to for sure get them under contract, but you sure as heck know that it's a guaranteed paycheck if you take a listing today. Guaranteed, you'll sell it. With 97% of the US above water, meaning what they owe to what the home is worth, there is a gap, meaning they have equity. Essentially, every single person on this earth or in this country has the capacity, if they chose to, selling their home. And in Utah, I don't know what home wasn't 100% above. So if you're in Utah, that's the case. And I would argue the same thing in California, because the market's raging there, which is where the majority of our agents are. So let's just think about this for a moment. Are you truly making the effort to take a listing every single day? It is a guaranteed paycheck. And there are still people who desire the help of an agent. But again, that comes down to having reasons that defy the odds. Defy the odds. The odds are that Everest shouldn't be in business. The odds, those were the odds. How could you create a company in the midst of the downfall? Well, we chose to, against all odds, because we could. All right. Guys, if you haven't figured out how much I care for you and love you, you don't know me very well. I'm really excited this next month that we're going to begin to assemble for some live summits and also our live Elevate event for our coaching or portion of our company. I hope that you will attend. We're going to be able to legally do that in Utah. Obviously, California, we cannot legally offer that out yet, but we will. The moment we can, we will be assembling. But we actually can have up to 160 people at our next summit this next month. And I'm excited to be able to see you and to get into contact with one another. But in the meantime, don't back away from what's possible for you. I'll make this closing statement. Whenever I've been discouraged, whenever I've been down, whenever I have for a moment doubted myself of what is possible, whenever I've wondered, could it be, could I do this? My statement, or could I go take this listing? Could I go find this buyer a home? Could I set an appointment today? Could I really practice and internalize and really master what is to be said? The answer is you can. But what I have said to myself for years, simple statement, we're just going to see what's possible. I'll have a client, I used to sell a lot of real estate, right? The listings, and they'd say, well, I don't know if you can sell my home for this much money. I don't know either. But what we're going to find out is what's possible. Imagine if you just simply gave your very best today. Imagine what's possible. Imagine for a moment that if you had the reasons that drove your life, what's possible. Imagine that if you really found the reasons that drive you for a greater level of health and vitality, what's possible? What if you stopped all the excuses? What if you stopped all the reasons of why you can't do something and you started down the pathway of finding the reasons, and those reasons turned into what's possible? I don't know ultimately what's possible for you, but what I do know is that when you find the reasons and you surround it with the right disciplines, it's pretty amazing what's possible. And for each one of us, it'll be different. But I hope, in closing, that you'll find what's possible for you. All right, gang? I deeply appreciate you, care for you greatly. And, you're deeply part of the reasons that move me on a daily basis and frankly energize me to want to become more, to do more, because of what you guys each do and who you each are becoming. So thank you for your example. Thank you for who you are. Let's have a great day. Let's have a great week. Let's rock and roll. Let's do some closing affirmations.